Clara stood before her mirror that morning, as she had done for 53 years. But today, something was different. She observed the woman facing her, the wrinkles around the eyes, witnesses to thousands of smiles and a few tears, the hands that had rocked children, comforted sorrows, built a career, the same hands that society was now whispering for her to forget. When had she started to feel invisible? Was it the day the young salesman had looked right through her as if she didn't exist? Or during that meeting where her ideas, though brilliant, had hung in the air without anyone truly hearing them? Perhaps it was more subtle, that slow erosion of her presence, grain by grain, until she found herself apologizing for existing. But Clara remembered another woman, a woman she had met a few months ago in a Parisian café. Marguerite was 68 years old and had eyes that sparkled like stars. Clara was sitting alone at her table, avoiding glances, when Marguerite had approached. "May I sit?" she had asked with a smile that occupied her whole face. Without waiting for an answer, she had settled in and begun to talk. Not with empty politeness or superficial conversation. She spoke of the beauty of the clouds that day, of her new writing project, of her recent decision to learn pottery. "You know," Marguerite had said, drinking her coffee, "I spent 20 years of my life making myself small, lowering my voice, apologizing for taking up space." Clara had looked up, intrigued. "And then one day I realized something magnificent. I realized that I had become invisible, but only in the eyes of others. I myself could finally see me." Those words still echoed in Clara's mind that morning. Marguerite had told her story, how after her divorce at 55, she had felt erased, how her adult children saw her as just mom, a function rather than a person, how the world seemed to have decided she was obsolete. "But you know what happened when I stopped seeking their validation?" Clara had shaken her head. "I discovered my own light, this light that had been there all along, but that I was searching in the eyes of others." Marguerite had pulled a small, worn leather notebook from her bag. "Every morning, I write 3 things my body has given me today. My hands that stroke my cat, my eyes that see the sunrise, my legs that carry me towards my dreams." "Your dreams?" Clara had murmured. "Oh yes, at 68 years old, I have more dreams than I did at 20. The difference is, now I know they belong to me." Clara thought back to that conversation as she delicately touched her own reflection in the mirror. When had she stopped dreaming? When had she begun to believe her desires were too late, too crazy, too her? She remembered that young woman she used to be, the one who wanted to travel, to write, to dance in her kitchen, the one who laughed loudly and took up space without apology. Where has she gone? "She is here," Clara whispered to her reflection. "She was always here." Marguerite had given her a challenge that day at the cafe. "For 1 week, I want you to act as if you were perfectly visible, as if every one of your gestures mattered, as if your voice had the power to change things." Clara laughed nervously. "And if it doesn't work, then you will have learned something precious about the world." But Clara, Marguerite had placed her wrinkled but firm hand on hers. What if it does work? That week had transformed Clara. The first day, she had dared to give her opinion during a condo association meeting. Her voice had trembled, but her words were just. The second day, she had worn that red dress she kept in her closet for a special occasion. The special occasion was being alive. The third day, she had called that friend she hadn't seen in years, the one she used to laugh with until she cried. The fourth day, she had signed up for that painting class she had been putting off for months. And the fifth day, something magical happened. She was walking down the street when a young woman approached her. "Excuse me," the young woman said, "but you have something different about you. You radiate. How do you do it?" Clara was surprised. "Radiate? Her? I just remember that I'm still here," she replied spontaneously. The young woman smiled. "That's exactly what I needed to hear today." That evening, Clara understood. She hadn't become invisible. She had just forgotten how to shine with her own light. Her body wasn't a failure because it was aging. It was a map of the battles she had fought, the joys she had lived, the wisdom she had accumulated. Her wrinkles weren't flaws to hide. They were the lines of her story drawn by every smile, every worry, every moment of wonder. Now, before this mirror, Clara finally saw. She saw the mother who had raised children with love, the professional who had overcome 1,000 obstacles, the loyal friend, the woman who had survived sorrows and celebrated joys. She saw the woman she still was, the woman she was becoming every day. "I am here," she whispered to her reflection, and for the first time in years, she truly believed it. That woman in the mirror wasn't invisible. She was the guardian of precious memories. She was the one who knew how to truly listen, who understood nuance, who had learned that true strength is sometimes found in gentleness. She was the one who no longer needed to prove anything to anyone. She was the one who could offer her wisdom without seeking recognition. She was the one who understood that self-love isn't selfishness, but a gift she gives herself and can then offer to the world. Clara smiled at her reflection. "I will no longer apologize for being here," she said softly but firmly. "I will no longer make myself small to reassure others. I will no longer hide my light for fear of disturbing. I am here. I have always been here, and I will continue to be here fully, authentically, magnificently." Because being visible, Clara had finally understood, wasn't about waiting for others to see her. It was about seeing herself. It was about choosing herself. It was about honoring herself. And when a woman does that, when she gives herself permission to exist fully, she becomes impossible to ignore. Not because she makes noise, but because she radiates with that inner light that nothing can extinguish. You too, you are here. You have always been here, and your light is just waiting for you to recognize it.